The Amhara National Regional State is one of the 9 national regional states of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia, and it's a living area for a very large number of the Amhara people. The Amhara region is a very wide area in which the Amhara, Agao, Himra, and Oromo communities live together with harmony and interdependence. The total population of the region is estimated to be nearly 18.6 million, and the total population of the Amhara community that live in other regions of Ethiopia is estimated to be not less than 2 million. It is then in the new Ethiopian government that the Amhara people are made to have fundamental rights for participating and for safeguarding their own national interests and benefits on the basis of equality with other peoples in Ethiopia. The Ethiopian people's equal access to democratic participation and to national benefits have now been definitely ensured because the peoples are, first of all, made to have the right to a full measure of their own self-government in their own region and the right to equitable representation and participation at the federal level. Moreover, the new economic policy, which guarantees all people's equal right to obtain an equitable share of any public funds undertaken by the federal government, is formulated by recognizing the fact that the issue of the developing of the regions is the duty of the population of each region. It's true that our country does not have a big capital resource. Nevertheless, it's a country which is chanced to have a very vast labor manpower and land resources. This primary development resource is also found abundantly in each region, as a result of which the success of the development of one region rests on the shoulders of the people of the region. Development and progress of regions would be attained if every region makes a lot of efforts by combining and integrating the resources of land and labor from its own population, and if the professional manpower of the region is committed to play its own role in supporting the endeavors of the population by working closely with them. Based on this fundamental reality, the Amhara National Regional State has begun to implement strategies that help to bring about sustainable regional development through the collaborative efforts of the population of the region, investors, and the federal government. This reality is clearly shown by the economic, social, and political changes that have been undertaken in our region during the past 15 years. This standard of change brought about in our region in the past 15 years can be correctly evaluated if it is possible to make a contrast between what really exists at the present and what it could have been and must have been in the past 15 years. But because the task of contrasting two dimensions of the change requires a long time and intensive analysis, presenting the results based on some general data and facts is the best alternative. Even though those former rulers or leaders who had superior authority and power for the past 100 years in our country were from the Amhara community, one of the injustices committed by these individuals or forces in authority was their neglecting and forgetting the large Amhara population in all means of measurement. During the historical period in which power served as tool for amassing public wealth, The kings and the military leaders used to concentrate in the southern, southwestern, southeastern, and central parts of the country, in which they thought that there existed plenty of resources like honey, wealth, and property. Having established their settlements in Addis Ababa and in other local towns, the former rulers from our Amhara community did not leave any meaningful legacy of social and economic infrastructure in the Amhara national region. This situation is more or less similar to the injustices done to other peoples by those rulers from the Amhara community. Apart from the road and the castle constructed by the Italians, a very long time has passed before any valuable roads, bridges, schools, and healthcare centers are constructed in the Amhara region, which is characterized by a topographic setup of maintains undulating landforms, rugged lands, and so forth. As a result, profiting nothing apart from the nominal leadership, the Amhara people live by people entangled in extreme poverty and backwardness. The vast majority of the region's population lives in the rural areas depending on agriculture. Nearly 89% of the Amhara population lives its livelihood on agriculture on the basis of small holdings of farmlands per household. Hence, for many years in the past, the performance of agriculture had just been a subsistence farming, and farming had not also been performed for commercial purposes. However, even though in the world in which everything is determined by market economy, subsistence farming seems to have no good chance for development. The farmers of our region are straining themselves up until now using this traditional farming system. As proved in the experience of other countries, it is possible to feed a country as large as China if a small holder's farmland is supported by modern agricultural technology and imports. But because there had not been any government which provided our farmers with improved agricultural technologies and supportive services, the performance of agriculture in our region had passed many years without showing any forms of improvement and change. The towns in Amhara region were not initially established on the basis of their suitability for agricultural productivity. Rather, these towns were established with the intention of using them as base centers for rulership, as well as with the intention of using them as a means of exploiting the farmers and the rural community under the cover of governmental authority. In effect, being founded to serve as a means of exploiting and weakening the livelihood of the rural community, the towns of the Amhara region had even failed to support themselves and improve their own livelihood. Therefore, in order to alleviate this adverse situation of the region, it's a must to create a new economic and political condition in our region in line with the change made in the political and economic systems of our country at large. Taking this reality into consideration, a lot of work has been performed in the economic, social, political, and cultural fields over the past 15 years. In other words, in order to ensure the region's development and the betterment of the livelihood of its population, primary focus has been made on improving the performance of agriculture, which is the mainstay of the economy of the region. In fact, agricultural economy of the Amhara region is structured on the ecological system, which is characterized by the occurrence of adequate rainfall on the one hand and by the existence of erratic rainfall on the other. In the areas of the region that receive adequate amount of rainfall, there is a rich wealth of land surface water and underground water. The amount of rainfall is also reliable from year to year. Consequently, it's believed to be possible to bring about a huge increase in production and productivity by combining and integrating the fertile farmland and the rich water resources of the region. In line with this, the Amhara regional government has made a lot of efforts to support the developmental endeavors of the rural community, especially to help them to change and improve their farming systems or practices.
I produced 40 quintal wheat from this 1 hectare farmland. In another 2 hectares, I do the same. Generally, I produce 160 quintal wheat in one harvesting season.
This endeavor can be attained when extension agents with comprehensive knowledge and skills are trained and made to live closely with the rural community to support their efforts of development. To this end, the number of extension agents, which was not greater than 370 by the time this regional government was established, has become greater than 13,000 by now.
We improve our life by using irrigation. We have produced commercial crop rather than subsistence food. I myself prepared to build a new house.
The extension agents are being trained for 3 years by foreign professionals in different agricultural fields, particularly in fields such as crop production, livestock production, and natural resources development sciences, and in the fields of marketing and the like. Now, these development agents have started to serve as forces of technology transfer in the rural areas by giving basic skills training and consultation to the farmers on a daily basis. By believing the fact that making the farmers to utilize improved technologies and inputs is very necessary to improve the standard of our agriculture, the government has been searching for and supplying technologies that help to gain a large increase in production and productivity of our agriculture. Moreover, the size of the irrigated land, which was not greater than 46,000 hectares before 15 years ago, has raised to 232,000 hectares at the present by constructing both modern and cultural systems of irrigation with the intention of expanding irrigation technology in our region. For example, the irrigation developments in Awi Zone, West and East Gojam, and North and South Gondar are some of such works which clearly demonstrate the expansion of irrigation development in our region. On the other hand, though adequate amount of rainfall is believed to exist in those parts of our region mentioned above, developing irrigation by redirecting rivers and digging water wells is found to be the only choice for our farmers to be able to produce and harvest 3 times in 1 year. In this regard, for the first time in the history of our country, the Fogara farmers being able to stop a big river called Rib from flowing into Blue Nile by redirecting its water completely to irrigate their farmlands show the fact that the utilization of irrigation systems is expanding in our region. In the last 1 year, our region has reached a stage at which the annual production and productivity of the areas with adequate amount of rainfall was 67 million quintals. However, the total productivity of these same areas as produced in the development works undertaken 10 years ago was recorded to be not greater than 37 million quintals. Furthermore, in the parts of the region which do not have adequate amount of moisture content, our region has made relentless efforts to enhance productivity and to disentangle the local communities from dependence on others. Though the amount of the rainfall that these areas receive during a season of summer is enough for producing adequate amount of production, the farmers used to lack the knowledge and the skills of increasing productivity by controlling this rainwater and retaining moisture in these farmlands. Having recognized this truth, the extension workers or agents have been assigned on teaching the methods of retaining moisture for the farmers. Because the government has supplied the farmers with wildlife and forest wealth development packages, which can be developed by the use of a small amount of moisture and give high values, the farmers have started to develop products of high value by using little amount of water, and thus they have begun to increase their incomes.
After
irrigations have been built, I planted cabbage, tomato and salad. I have earned 3,642 Ethiopian birr. Now I have built a house with 4 classes in Masha town.
However, the problem that exists in the areas that are lacking moisture will not be solved only by collecting and retaining water and moisture, particularly because there are some areas in which the soil has been highly degraded, making the rural community to resettle willingly in the fertile western parts of the region is necessary. Due to this, in the last 4 years only, it has been possible to resettle nearly 125,321 farmers who had been forced to depend on donated grains for 20 and 30 years in the past. The resettled farmers were able to be self-reliant or independent just a year after their resettlement, and they were also able to become rich farmers just 2 and 3 years after their resettlement. On the other hand, lack of capital resource is one of the problems that are faced by the farmers of our region. Because of the shortage of capital resource, the farmers of our region were forced to borrow money from lenders with an interest of 120%, and thereby delivering the results of their hard work to the rich money lenders. In the efforts made to solve this problem, the Amhara Credit and Saving Association has been established in 2,500 rural qabalis out of the total number of 2,800 rural qabalis that are found in the region. And at the present, this Credit and Saving Association is able to provide banking services for 922,000 households. By receiving all of these types of support from the government, the farmers are made to have the full right to benefit from their products. And at this time, efforts are being made to overcome the obstacles which reduce production and productivity. Recognizing this truth, the farmers have begun to work hard to increase their production. After all, the farmers of our region are proving the fact that a miraculous increase in productivity can be made by developing the farmlands of small landholders. On the other hand, in the efforts made to develop the urban areas, the government has given due attention to the work of creating suitable working conditions for private sector, expanding medium and small micro-enterprises, and eradicating unemployment in urban areas. As a result of the efforts exerted to create and facilitate good working conditions for investors, industries are expanding in our national region at the present, as opposed to the very hopeless situation that existed in the past. For example, flour factories, textile factories, metals and plastic factories, and meat and leather factories are being expanded at the present time. Factories which existed in the region 15 years ago were entirely government-owned, and they were not also more than 10 in number. However, the factories established in the past 15 years have greatly increased both in number and kind, and they are also entirely privately owned. Without limiting itself to these activities, the private sector is broadly involving itself in real estate development, in consultancy service, in hospital and healthcare services, as well as in educational and training services. More than what the intermediate and big factories provide, small and micro production and service enterprises create wider job opportunities. Understanding this, and especially the growing demand of the rural areas of the use of technology, huge developments of small and micro enterprises are underway in the region. By helping the youth to involve in water pumping technology, beekeeping, and modern housing development activities, it has been started to make young citizens who are working in the fields to benefit from these development opportunities created in urban and rural areas. In the efforts made to expand community development in the region, the coverage of primary education, which was only 19% 14 years ago, has now risen to 84%. Today, more than 3.2 million children and grown-ups in the region are attending their education. This figure alone is by far greater than the total number of 2.3 million students of the whole country, which was recorded 15 years ago. The total number of primary schools, which was 2,573 15 years before in the region, has reached 4,650 by the end of 1998 EC.
The birth rate of children in our village is highly increased thanks for the teachers' follow-up and the curriculum which is designed based on the interest of children. They have been following their education adequately.
Similar development is being registered in secondary schools. The number of secondary school students in the region has risen from 70,000 in 1983 Ethiopian calendar to 231,535. Secondary school students of the region are also made to have access to ICT. Medium colleges and vocational and training institutes are expanded in this region. Our region, which didn't have even one university, owns 2 big universities today. This number is expected to rise to 5 as soon as Kombolcha, Debre Brahan, and Debre Marcos universities are completed and commence work. This is a big victory for the people of the region, which only few lucky children used to have a narrow access to join the university.
የጥቂት ምርጦች መማሪያ ቦታ ነበር።
Universities in Ethiopia were served only for few selected students. We call it elite. By now, these universities are sources of knowledge and skills for many. Now, their perspectives are changed.
Similar developments are also being seen in the health sector. Because the health policy we follow is based on prevention, giving training to many health extension professionals, and constructing healthcare centers from rural up to urban areas, a lot of works have been done in the region. Nowadays, the government has opened 2,075 health posters, 155 health centers, and 16 hospitals which are now giving services. In addition, a lot of clinic and hospital constructions are being undertaken by private sectors. Due to these reasons, health service coverage in the region rose from 34% in 1987 Ethiopian calendar to 88%. And the second 5-year action plan for rapid poverty eradication, and in the second 5-year action plan for rapid poverty eradication is believed to raise its coverage to 100%. In our region, special emphasis has been given to expanding the economic and social infrastructures. Establishment of roads, electric and telephone services, construction of airplane runways, and expansion of irrigation systems are hugely executed. The works of expanding communication systems in the region, which are performed under our own independent capacity, in addition to the cross-country service extended in collaboration with the federal government, have inaugurated a new era in the Amhara national region. For the first time in our history, the Addis Ababa-Gondar road has been asphalted. The road from Addis Ababa through Dessie to the north is under construction with similar quality standard. Asphalting the road from Gondar to Humera has been also started. The road from Gondar to Matamma town shall be started in the near future. A due consideration is to be given with regard to the work of expanding electric services in the region. The plan that has been made to make 75% of the Woreda towns in the region have access to electricity is being implemented as has been thought. Based on this plan, 16 towns have been made to have access to the use of electricity in the past 2 years only. To facilitate the provision of this service, the construction of substations is being expanded in Gaint, Nafas Maucha, Matamma, Akasta, Mota, Gondar, Kombolcha, and other areas. The plan held by the federal government to generate additional 420 megawatt power from Tana Bells project in the region has been transferred to the construction phase. As a result of the efforts made to expand telephone services, is being expanded very fast and is expanding crossing into the rural areas without being limited to all major lines in the region. With the help of telephone technology that crossed into the rural areas, farmers can seek markets for their products. Their capacity to gather information and use it for production activities is also increasing. Because of all these reasons, the people of Amhara National Region have stopped watching others while eating and are made to have access to share from the table of the products of development. This effort, if supplemented by joint collaboration of the whole citizens of the region, is believed to achieve great success within a short time. Good governance. Years have been counted since the chapter in which the population of the Amhara National Region lived bowing its head down due to extreme poverty and lack of good governance was closed. Though the people of the Amhara National Region lived a long time by being deprived of good governance and democracy, they are the owners of good public profile. When the government and the population of the region were involved in enhancing development, they did not consider it apart from building democratic system and good governance. Due to this reason, the people of the region mobilized themselves by considering the issue of building democracy and good governance not only as the issue of development but also as a means of survival. It was also during the past 14 years in the history of the people of Amhara region that they had begun to apply and to ensure those principles which are believed even by the civilized world to be indicators of democracy, such as establishing public councils at different levels, ensuring the freedom of expression, ensuring power and authority through the system of election, and establishing civic organizations and improving their services. In the country and society where the practices of imposing the belief and outlook of some group of people on other people, enforcing others to accept one's own belief and outlook, and not entertaining differences freely were rampant, creating a region in which respect is based on equality and willingness, and the region in which the peoples are able to maintain the culture and customs of one another were not easily achieved in the last 14 years. At the present time, public councils are established from regional level up to Kabale level for the population of the Amhara region to govern itself. The people have been able to elect representatives whom they believe to have honesty and the competence to lead them. Laws by which the people can dispose those representatives who are found to be anti-development and anti-good governance are being enacted and implemented by the people. The public councils also approve laws, proclamations, and bylaws which are found to be important for development and for the well-being of the people, and they also make follow-ups for their executions. By having a common stand on basic issues, they are working by establishing systems that help to resolve differences by citing appropriate laws. Moreover, a system is also created for the public councils to improve their work and to get them encouraged for better development from time to time by adhering to the multi-party system, which is new in the history of the region. Election system is one of the activities carried out in the region as indicators of good governance. The people have exercised the right to elect freely, and they have brought to authority political parties which they believe to have the competence to lead. Forcing authority out of the muzzle of the gun and instead establishing a system where authority is sprung up from the ballot box with people's consensus is considered by the people of the region as a big development in politics. Following this election system, various political parties and individual competitors have held authorities within different levels of administrative hierarchy, which range from the regional level up to the Kabale level. The Council of the Amhara region, which is the highest body of authority in this national region, accommodates 294 seats. Among these, nearly 107 seats are taken by the opposition parties. All these are the victories that the people of the region have attained through the democratic social system established in the previous years. When we say the profile of the national region is changed, it's not without evidence. Beginning from the development of the constitution itself, it has been made possible to create a region in which one has the right to be respected just for being a human, to speak and to be listened to, and the right to express one's support or opposition without being frightened and threatened. If it is possible to continue to do at this rate, support each other, we believe that there will be no reason for us not to reach where others have reached within a short period of time. Media are indicators of the existence of democratic system. Many political parties in our region used media as one means of having access to compete for authority. Without being frightened and threatened, the parties carried out their election campaign freely during all stages. The competing parties introduce themselves and mobilize the people by presenting the alternative. They have used radio and TV airtime as well as pages in the newspaper as apportioned by the government media. In the region, authority transfer existed out of muzzle of the gun and transferred to the peaceful election campaign, and a system in which alternative policies and strategies are presented by the parties to the public has been a historical truth, as witnessed even by observers.
I have not seen such political competition before in our country. It was taken place by force or ethnic, but now Ethiopia is following Western democratic style, which is interesting.
The distance the region has traveled after establishing the course in terms of human resource, structure and provision of services is another indicator of good governance in the region. A long period of time had been counted for the citizens without trusting in the justice system. In the history of the Amhara region, it is possible to understand that there were chances in which individuals, after accusing someone, exhausted their lives without winding up the cases and died without obtaining decisions. The data indicate that the number of lawyers who were giving services of justice for 70 million residents of the Amhara National Region 1986 Ethiopian calendar was only 37. Then, the works of capacity building that have been made in our region are indicators for the measures undertaken by the government to make the justice system fast, efficient, and accessible. In addition, in the capacity building activities undertaken in the region, it has been possible to raise the number of lawyers from 37 to 768. The possibility of giving decisions by circuit courts for case records that cannot be seen by the local courts is considered as a big step forward. The report of the Justice Office indicates that nowadays there are no more backlog record of cases which had been transferred years after years. The reason for this is the presence of more than 790 high court, zonal and Warada judges and more than 2,000 community court judges who were elected by the people in every qabale.
ባየሁት ባሁኑ ወቅት በእውነቱ አዲስ ነገር አዲስ ታምር ነው ማየው።
We have been looking at amazing and interesting judiciary systems nowadays. It is not only too pleasing to government, it is the fact that we have looking and confirming in our own Warada. No one is disappointed by appointment. Everyone gets a decision within a day.
For anybody who evaluates with a cool and peaceful mind the results of good governance and development which were registered in the past 10 or more years by the people of the Amhara region are given a very high regard. However, this does not mean that we do not have a lot of social, economic and good governance activities to be done in the future. To alleviate our problems, we know that we need educated and experienced human power and financial capacity. We know that we have to exert our energy to work hard to improve the situation. At regional level, the Amhara National Regional State will strive to retain and enhance good governance and development achievements in collaboration with the Amhara people. We believe we'll work hard, hand in hand.